Hello, everybody. I'm Louise Winchester, the spiritual business mentor, and this is Helen Dunne,
Hello.
Southern mentor. And we're here live talking today about star codes or stellar codes, the divine human template, and celestial visions, as well as quite a lot of other bits and pieces. So I'm going to give people some tips on how to clean their energy up when they're being impacted left, right, and center, which is obviously what's happening collectively right now. So let's just dive straight into it. Helen, if you could keep an eye on the comments for me, just let me know. I'm not even going to go to my mobile. And so,
Sorry. Just turn that down.
So if you're on the call, give us a wave or a thumbs up or tell us where you are. That would be great. And please leave some questions or comments if you have any about what we're going to be talking about today. So this week's broadcast really started for me as soon as the last one ended. And I received a text message from Helen where she mentioned to me that she'd received a message from someone suggesting that we all now ground out into the ocean because in Australia, as well as the rest of the world, and it might be appropriate for other people to do this and try this, that we actually, when we are working with our energy field or gridding our field or doing grounding work or cleaning our energy, that we actually take a feed line out to the ocean, deep ocean, and drop our energy down into the salt water, down into the depths of the ocean, and try to absorb the frequency back up and back through our energy field and connect with the whale and the dolphin frequencies which are in the ocean. So I received this heads up from Helen, and I decided to take my energy off. And actually what I got was a little bit more than that. It was a bit of a surprise. So I actually had surfacing in the ocean. I'd actually connected in with light being energy from the Palladians, and they are holding a frequency in the ocean at the moment, and it's very blue and purple or magenta kind of colors, and it's there to help facilitate us actually being able to clean our energy and lift the frequency, because we're getting really dragged down and really bogged down, where it's almost like if you're an empath or you're a psychic or you're an energy sensitive and intuitive, when we are watching all the stuff that's playing out in the world, it's actually hitting our energy field and leaving this is the way I describe it. It's like a little dart with a bubble inside it, which is a thought form. So you've got the thought forms of people that are experiencing and having to put up with issues in reality that are directly connected with the battle between, you know, whatever we want to call it, the good and the bad, and the energies which are presenting themselves, which are very, very dark and intense right now. And we're absorbing that into our energy. It's pushing our light quotient and our energy levels down further and further and further. And we've got to find ways to pick up our frequency and bring our energy back up energetically, so that we can keep witnessing and giving compassion and trying to heal the energy of what actually is happening collectively. And that's going to take me in a moment to a post that I wrote last week. So is there anybody that is actually experiencing just before this call, I actually watched some stuff that was on Facebook, and had that situation occur in my energy field where it actually filtered down to the point where I started to develop a migraine from it. And I had to go back in. I had to work on my energy to clean every single part of it, just to raise my frequency back up, just so that I could hold this broadcast. So it's that intense right now. It is full on, like never before. What are you experiencing, Helen? Are you?
Yeah, I've experienced, like in meditation, I've felt like the back of my neck, like a portal opening up, and I've had to kind of like close it, clean it out, close it down, and seal it again, so that, yeah, I've felt that, particularly when I've been sort of clearing even like just energy between a conversation that I've had with somebody else or whatever, and I've thought, you know, like it could be a friend, but it just could be, at the moment, everybody's got their different vibrations, their different opinions on things, and that's okay. It's just that I rather clear the energy and have nice space between that. I respect everybody's, you know, opinions, but when that happened, I felt this, like I said, a massive portal sort of opening up. So it was kind of like just, you know, being aware of where, you know, in your body where you feel those things.
And so what that is, I'll just explain to people when they can feel a hole appear in their energy field, what it is, it's a dimension opening to a dimension. So your dimension has opened where there's an opening, and it's directly going through to something else, and it's something external to you that you have come into contact with that's opening that up. So it's really good to actually go through the process of requesting, you know, the higher energies of spirit and self, higher self, you know, your guidance team actually come to close it. And there is a way to actually close down and lock energy. And you can, like, just mentally, if I was to say this is a diamond, and actually a diamond is a symbol of a doorway or a dimension, you can actually close it and you can turn it. So once you close it and turn it, you're asking for it to be sealed through all dimensions of time, and you're locking it out, right? So if you do start to feel anything, you're picking up anything that's got a lock on, not just a thought form, that's one way that I would work with that energy and just try to lock it out of my field. So
see ya. Sorry. Bit of entertainment.
okay, could you have a look for me and just see if anybody's got any questions about that thing?
Yeah, not yet.
No, okay. So one of the next things that's kind of interwoven into that is, and we might do a little process if there's at the end of all of this, so people can actually feel what it's like to take their energy off into the ocean and clean their energy. I also wrote a post about consciousness the other day, and it was about the eye of God, or Ra, as I would call it. And I had the energy coming in to write this piece. It took me way too long to write it, but you can find it on my blog if you're interested in reading it, at www.louisewinchester.com, or you can actually find it in the Sacred Space Global group on Facebook. And I relayed some information about an experience I had 30 years ago where my energy was so energetically positioned in disagreement with the British government with going into the Gulf War, that I consciously, I had never been trained, I'd never done anything like this. I'd only just started doing meditation classes, and I think it was 1990. And I went to a sacred place in Torquay where I used to live, and they have their it's just an outlook, but you can actually feel the intensity of the land, the energy. And so what I actually did was I sent my own prayers and own intentions and my own light from England down to Iraq, and I asked for the universe to actually direct energy there to reduce the impact and reduce the intensity of the energy of what was about to play out, where we were about to have a war. And I believed in my own consciousness at 18 that there was no doubt in my mind that my sending my direct thought intent to this location was going to have an impact. And so I made an agreement to actually stop my watch, my physical watch, and I made the agreement with the universe that I would never wear a watch again, as a shutting the door on that potential, what I would classify as an Armageddon timeline of distraction, like deliberate distraction and deliberate overpowering of a race. And so that war actually lasted 9 days. And in the post I said, I'm not trying to say from an egotistical perspective, but that I was responsible for that war actually being reduced in impact. But look at if you just look at the fact that our thoughts create our reality. So if we are buying into all of this stuff and not recreating the reality from a negative to a positive, then we're not doing our job in trying to this is all going to come out in the wash. Everything is gonna be brought up that needs to be seen and revealed and shown to the masses, and everything that needs to come down is going to come down, and everything that needs to come up and be built is going to get built, because it can't go on like this. It just can't. And so in that whole process, what I was trying to explain was that we need to take responsibility for our consciousness. We need to take total radical responsibility for where our energy is dialing into. Like, it's okay to watch and observe, and if you feel drawn to act in some specific way, then that's your personal free will and choice to, if you feel the need to act. But also we need to do it at a conscious intention level, where we spend time in meditation, actually healing, clearing, raising the vibration of the planet. And so I make some suggestions in there about recreating your own reality and going in and making visualizations on how you want to live your life, how you want to see this unfold, what you want, to, as a positive reality of transformation. And I think this is how we can all contribute with our own conscious thoughts and intentions. And so that was the lesson that I was really trying to relay in the blog post. Was at 18, I had no idea I wasn't taught any of this. I followed my guidance. My guidance told me to do that. I believe it had some form of impact, because it taught me something quite fundamental, that we actually need to be very careful about how we're using our thoughts. And to be honest, it's a proven fact that you can control the masses by creating fear. You create fear, it's a repetitive cycle of washing machine shit show,
Absolutely. And that reminds me, well, they say energy goes where your focus, or energy flows where your focus goes. So, and just that is, what you did is so powerful with just one person, like amazing, which is so amazing. And I 100% believe that you had, an impact on what you did if you were completely guided to do that with no instruction from anybody. That's divine instruction.
Well, I didn't even know anybody that I could speak to at that age. Like, as I say in the post, I was I classify myself as an astral psychic. Like, I've seen the energetic manipulation of the grid's planetary level, and I had an incredibly intense psychic childhood, and I didn't have people I could speak to about what I was seeing and experiencing. And you know, here we are 30 years on with the global mass awakening actually happening now and occurring. And I just thought that that was a really valuable lesson for everybody to think about. And we are all getting sucked down with the energy. There's absolutely no doubt about that. You know, like, just because I've done all the work that I've done, it doesn't mean to say that I still get impacted. We are all humans. We are going to feel impacted by everything that's going on, because we're witnessing, our hearts going out to people who are suffering or being impacted or being manipulated or being like, it's just off the Richter. But what we've got to do is we've got to keep coming back to ourselves and cleaning our energy, because you know, it's going to get more exhausting as we move into September. And we're already in September. I can't believe what we're actually seeing on social media.
Every single month, there's been like drama, but it's been so fun, the 2020 show. That's what I've been calling it, the 2020 show.
Well, if it doesn't incense you on some level, then I don't know, just hand over your rights completely. So I'm also being quite careful about what I say on here and not making direct reference to specific things or events, but I'm sure that everybody can make their own assumptions about what it is that they're seeing, sensing, perceiving now. And we all have to navigate to our own truth and find our own truth about who we are, how we serve. It's all about balance. It's all about staying centered in the eye of the storm. We know that that's how you navigate through to the other side of whatever it is that we're stuck in.
Yeah.
So I'll just talk a little bit more about celestial visions. So I'm going to go in reverse. So I'm going to start about celestial visions, then I'm going to talk about the divine human template, and then I'm going to talk about the star codes. Okay, so 30 years ago is when I really started to avidly pursue meditation and inner connection. So I'm just going to give a quick overview about my engineering terms for what it's like to be a full-on meditator and the scope that we can like extend our consciousness into. So for people who've heard me in the past, I've recited this a million, billion, squillion times before, so apologies, but I have to break it down slightly into its nuts and bolts. So inside your brain, right in the center of it, is the pineal and the pituitary gland. It is the eye of Horus. So if you were to cut through a slice of the brain, you actually have the literal pattern of the eye of Horus. And what I say to people is that if you imagine that your eye of Horus is like a small ball inside your brain, and around the outside of it is a muscle, okay? And if you shut your eyes and go into the center of your head, you'll see my eyes are fluttering as I go to do that, but that's because the muscle inside and around my pituitary gland is so strong at pulling energy and light that it actually has a physical impact of making your face or your eyes flutter, because it's literally it's like a butterfly flapping its wings, really, I suppose is the right word for it. So the more you wake up, your ability to pull and push energy with your consciousness at the quantum level, the more intense the muscle fluttering might be. But you just basically switch off and ignore it. It's more like your face will flutter at the beginning, and then as time goes on, when you're really deep in channel, you're just literally in the quantum energy, and it's like the flutter has stopped in your eyes because you're so down deep in the quantum. Anyway, So we use this muscle for channeling energy and pulling frequency through us. And then what I usually say to people is that your pituitary gland and pineal gland are like a satellite dish, and we can actually tune in like a radio station into whatever energy signature we want to pull through our physical being. And so this is called remote viewing. And for the purposes of healing the self, we learn how to work with different crystal frequencies. We work with archangelic energies. We work with Saint Germain and the violet flame angels. You can work with the elemental kingdom. You can work with taking your consciousness to different grid point locations, working with ascended masters. They've all got different energy signatures. Out to taking your consciousness out off planet into different stellar constellations, and this is where the star codes side of things comes in. So this happens as you practice working with energy by reaching. I always say to people, it's like you reach your energy out. It's like a form of Tai Chi with energy. You take your consciousness with your eyes shut out and you pull in the energy, because the energy and you are actually one. There's no separation. It's only the mind that separates us from like the rest of the things in reality. So it's about, some people would have fear-based consciousness come up around connecting into different things, but you've got to start small and start with natural things like, you know, it's completely harmless to give yourself, I'm just looking outside right now, you know, taking your consciousness off to the beach and feeling the sand and feeling the ocean and breathing in the air. And all of these things are really here to balance your field. So if you're feeling anxiety, you're feeling like, you know, you don't know which way to go, you don't know what to process, like how to process, the quickest way is to stop, close your eyes, take yourself into the quantum field and make yourself a little journey where you take yourself off to what I call a sacred space or a power spot in nature, just to absorb the energies, because the energies will actually heal your whatever it is that you've got going on, dependent upon the severity of your physical symptoms. So that's a little bit about celestial visions, and we're going to go into, so when we sit in meditation and we drop our brainwave state down, so there are our neurons of our brain actually run electricity through the gap. So high speed is a higher frequency when we're in our day-to-day lives, and meditation is a lower, slower waveform of energy. When we slow the frequency of what electricity is running through the neurons, we actually allow our ego to disengage, and we can slide slightly into the quantum field where spirit or the energy of the universe can actually get to us. So we can have an interaction or an experience with some other aspect of the other things that we can't see in the universe. We can actually allow ourselves to have a guided experience with that. So one of the things I always say to people is you need to invoke some form of sacred space around your energy and command dominion and protection of your field, and that will raise you up higher than like astral energies and entities, so you're not getting any interference. And then it's about absorbing through the osmosis alchemy of the physical body and the quantum field, the frequencies which are going to support your field as you expand in consciousness and you expand in your energy. So there's an awful lot of different things and meditations that you can do out there to support you, but you're going to see, occasionally, you're going to see a vision. And celestial visions, so there's visions and then there's celestial visions. So visions are, you know, one of the things I saw the other day was a complete brick wall right in front of my energy field, and I thought, oh great, what's that? Can you give me some more information, Spirit, please? Go take the wall down. So you can see like a visual representation. So the universe speaks in a lexicon of language. So sometimes we'll see where a vision will come in with sound, quite you know, the celestial ones often come in with almost like the sound of something out of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where the UFO makes those tones or noises, and then the next minute there's some incredible light being that you're interacting with, and it's absolutely amazing, and you're in reverence to like the experience and the energy that you come into contact with. But when it comes to visions, there is always some sort of encoded meaning in the vision. There's I went off years ago to an event that was in Canada, and a mystery school means you don't know what the teacher's going to teach you. You just find out that it's the gig is called Visions. And so I went all the way to Canada to an event with one of my teachers, and it wasn't about visions at all. And I thought it was going to be to help me understand more about what the universe was like when you see a vision, what it means. Not at all. It was all about how the face actually morphs into like different categories of overlay over time, and it was evidence around like different clusters of people where you could see all these different pictures of being taken of people, and it was really easy to see that this person's on pharmaceutical drugs, or this person's you know, an offender, because it's like written all over their face. A face changes to suit the reality even of whatever it is that that person is living with or through, and he'd actually managed to cluster them together. But visions as a sort of as a transmission that comes through the field of intelligence that's all around us is genuinely here to support, and is genuinely here. I've found that visions, when they come through, will either give you the information about what it is behind it immediately, or if you're left going, oh, what the hell did that mean? You can either look up the meaning of something, because all symbology actually has been written and decoded. You know, the bee is all about healing, wounding around working and operating with groups, and the spider is, you know, the energy of the master builder. Everything has already been written about what the symbol actually means, and has some alchemical, like, it's like that energy comes in because you need it right now. And so trying to not only see visions but actually decipher them, it's always good to actually have a little book where you can write down some of the visions that you've actually seen whilst you've been in meditation. But if you get some visions and you have no idea, it's crucial at the moment that you actually see the vision that you ask for the information from the higher self, because the higher self will relay it. Aside from that, I've actually seen my visions weave into reality within 3 days. Something to do with the vision has appeared where you can link it back to the vision, and you go, oh, so that's what that meant. It's absolutely amazing and fascinating. It's you know, I call it Netflix on the inner. It's really incredible to receive a vision from the universe, and then the next minute it's weaving and playing out in your reality, and you get to understand what it actually means and symbolizes for you. So Spirit saying it's the alchemy of spirit, literally. It's how it heals and supports you at a physical level. And devoting, I always say to people, you know, when you first start doing meditation, it's really good to set a specific time every night that you do your meditations. Like, I literally did not stop at one point of doing meditation every night for about 18 years. It is a continuous journey that you will never run out of things and energies to explore in meditation. It's fascinating, super interesting. And I think my old teacher, before he died, he wrote an encyclopedia, or what's the right word? An entire index of the lexicon, where he's got 33,000 different types of visions coming in from the universe, and writing what it actually is encoded in meaning. And I don't think that information is out there, but it would be fantastic if somebody actually felt called to record visions and write down all their meanings and things like that. But we can I always find a good way. If you don't, I'm going to speak about one of the most amazing visions I've ever had in a moment, which was to do with Hawaii, and this is how it weaves into your reality. But I think I've lost my thread. I'm going to go straight into that. So one of the most amazing visions I ever had, and one of the most incredible lessons, was I was sitting in meditation, just in a low brainwave state, and this vision appeared in front of me. And I swear absolutely on my life about this experience. And so I was looking with my eyes shut at this creature, which was kind of like doing this and flapping its wings, and I watched it like a video vision, which is really rare. Doesn't happen like this. Like, normally you'll see a vision and it will come in and it will be there for 1 or 2 seconds and it will disappear. It's like really quick when you see a vision. And I was literally watching this sea creature flapping its wings for a whole minute, like on video. And I thought, wow, this is really something. This is something that, like, to have that kind of length of vision. So I went to sleep that night. Next morning I got up and I said to myself, higher self, so what was that vision that I saw last night? And it said to me, my higher self said to me in a clear voice, that was a manta ray. And I thought, what the hell is a manta ray? I had never ever even heard of the word. I did not know what a manta ray was. And for anybody out there who doesn't know what a manta ray is, it's not a stingray. It's an enormous version of a ray, and it's about 3 meters across wingspan. And I was about to, so I thought, right, okay, manta ray, better look that up. Don't know what that is. And off I went to work. And when I got to work, I jumped on Google and I typed in manta ray, and I typed in Hawaii, because in 2 weeks' time I was about to go to Hawaii. Okay, I was going to go to a mystery school in Hawaii, and for 3 weeks. And up on Google it popped manta ray, #1 place in the world to see the manta ray. And I thought, oh my God, they're real, and they're in Hawaii, and it's the #1 place in the world to see them. Well, I'm going to have to do that. Anyway, so I arrived in Hawaii, and the group that I was with, I told the girls that I was with that I'd seen this incredible vision and that I was going to book a trip out to see the manta rays. And the thing is, you have to get in deep ocean in the dark, in the middle of the night, to actually see these creatures, right? And about 60 people a day. It's still probably #1, #2 thing that I've ever done in my entire life. And this was off the Big Island in Hawaii. And what you do is you go out in deep ocean at night. They have a load of lights down on the seabed, which they switch on, and the divers go down to the seabed, and then the snorkelers sit on the surface of the ocean with a torch, and you've got to lie there in deep ocean like fish food and hope for the best. And these manta rays come flying through the air and do a sort of circuit like this, and like they literally go around and around, because what they do is they feed off of the krill, which is attracted to the lights and it's called the campfire. And so you see this incredible magical like display of nature, like it's just absolutely beautiful. And then that wasn't it. They eventually came up to the surface, and these 3-meter diameter, like 3-meter wide manta rays actually skim past you, like about 5 inches off of you, and pick up the stuff, you know, the krill that's in your torchlight. And so when the manta ray came past, I thought, now I know what it's actually trying to say to me. So what the manta ray holds as an energy frequency is it's all about heart. It literally has no defense mechanisms. It's all about how do I explain it? Having an open heart and not having an open door, and not being, you know, worried about something gonna, you know, attack you or kill you. It's a completely heart-based creature. It's just divine. And so if I hadn't sat in meditation, if I hadn't been like conscious enough to actually go, wow, that's quite something, you know, quite humbly, and then go searching for an answer and a meaning, and then go, okay, I'm going to break through all my fears, and I'm going to go out in the deep ocean, and I'm going to go swimming with the manta rays. Oh my God. And have this beautiful experience. And it kind of liberated me from the idea of like, you know, needing to defend yourself, needing to, you know, put your shields up, I suppose is the right way of talking about it. But it was a truly magical experience. And, you know, it's great to share that with you guys. So, you know, always spend time in meditation, because you never know what gifts are going to be given to you from the universe. So that is probably the best earthly vision I've had, but it climbs up from that into more celestial kind of energies that are actually interacting with the earth plane, that work for the greater good of humanity. So any questions? Anybody? Do you have anything to add? Do you have a vision that you have had?
I can completely relate with what you're saying, but I'm just one of these people that I do get visions and things, but and then they mean something to me, then they just leave me. So all the way I'm like, yep, but yeah, I can't share anything.
We are constantly going through an osmosis of energetic exchange, and like what we're, you know, what we're going through now with the energy is all about, you know, we have to value and try to connect deeper to the energy of the universe actually supporting us. And that's really my message. Like, if you spend time on a regular basis tapping into sitting in channel and doing meditation and asking the universe to show up, it's going to show you some really profound, incredible things. And honestly, it's the best bit of being alive for me.
For sure. Yeah. And I can 100% vouch for that. Like, it's just very much like I pretty much run my life on, okay then, all right, it's
following instructions.
Okay. All right then, no worries. That's not happening. All right, this is.
Shifting and changing with the wind.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about if nobody's got any questions.
There's no questions at the moment, just hellos. Hello from Penelope and Marcus. Yeah.
Hi, Marcus. Both of you have been through Quantum Leap.
That's wonderful. Hello.
And okay, so let's talk about the Divine Human Template. So in our energy field, I believe as a collective species, we are trying to reclaim like energy field working for us at the best level it possibly can. And with that, the ascension process actually finds and surfaces pockets of blocks and fears and fear-based programs and stuff in the genetics, and like it's absolutely vast what the ascension energy actually pulls and drags up. But what we're trying to do is actually replace the energy with what I classify as the divine human template. And JJ Hurtek wrote a fantastic book. It's a very, very magical book called The Keys of Enoch, Yod Hey Vo He. And in that book, it was a written channeled book from the 70s. I cannot profess to actually having read it. I have a copy of it where literally the magic of this book, the energy comes and gets you in the middle of the night. It is so intense in energy. It contains inside of it channelings, like if you could read it at a mental level, then I'm sure there's people out there that have read it, but I've just like, it's like the energy of it I'll experience on some level. And in it he mentions things called the divine human template, which is almost like they're seed codes in your energy that are there to transcend the frequency in the field, or the mechanics, like the quantum mechanics of your energy. And also he makes reference in there to fire letters, which I've seen many times. And when you see a fire letter, it has got a red like energy around it, whereas a divine human template coding will come in a variety of different ways. The first time I ever saw it, I gave it a name, which I called the Matrix Rain, where like it was literally coming in codes where I had my eyes open, and all through the room I could see all these codes coming in. Absolutely amazing the first time I ever saw the codes. And so I just give things names when I see stuff. It's like, you know, and then I carry the story with me. And then maybe one day somebody else will say that they've seen the Matrix Rain. I don't know. But I personally believe that these are like energetic templates for us to absorb, to completely like lift
upgrade
field up to another level of consciousness or intelligence or freedom in its entirety. So my full name is Louise Winchester, and I actually have my initials equal law, or the laws, and in my energy are literally the laws of the universe, which is what I stand for in my energy. And all of it becomes connected, you know, like in somewhere in me is the right template, the divine human template, without the ego of look at me, this is what I am. You know, that's not what I'm about. It's about holding it at a quantum energetic level in your own energy field, and knowing when your field's being pulled slightly out of whack, or you know what you're actually dealing with in your own energy field, and trying to bring it back to the divine human template. We're all here to be liberated and be free beings that are of the divine human template, and quite often that requires years of extensive energetic work on yourself in order to achieve it.
Marcus has said he had the same experience with that in the woods. Wow. I had the same experience with matrix codes downloading from the sky. Matrix rain, yes, I had the same experience in the woods.
And what colour was it, Marcus? Was it green? Because this one that I was talking about was green, I think. And how long ago did you see that? I can't actually remember how long ago I saw it. I think it was about 15 years ago. So sometimes we can be activating a single code, and that might not look like, you know, a Hebrew letter, when it comes in. But if I give you another example, when I was working with the energy with the Palladian beings in the ocean last week, that was actually coming in. That was coming in with 3 banks of like, I think about 21 times. It literally transmitted a template to me where I'd get a burst of light of blue and a burst of light of white and then a burst of like a metal color. And it was like literally aligning, it was going into micro parts of my meridian lines in my body. So it was like I was lying in a state where I was just sitting, holding the energy, and it was transmitting, and it was finding the location and downloading into the quantum. But it really felt like as I was receiving these transmissions of coding, that it was aligning with some micro part of a meridian line in my energy field. So they don't necessarily, like a divine human template upgrade doesn't need to come in like where you can actually see a code. It can just come in as different blips of light, and you're receiving those blips into some particular part of your energy field. Awesome.
Marcus says his was green.
Yeah.
And then Penelope, I've seen a hexagonal golden net over everything a few times.
Yeah, okay, excellent. I've seen that netting too. That I believe is like it's like a protection net. Gold is one of the highest frequency energies, so if you do a space clearing, sometimes you put in a platinum net in the floor, but if you can spin a web like around the outside in gold, so she's probably seeing some celestial protection coming in around her energy, which we all need, so that we can all stay soft and in our light rather than
for sure.
Oh, classic. Thank you for those questions, guys. Okay, so do you have anything to report on? I'm going to talk a little bit about light beings in a moment. Did you have anything you wanted to say, Helen?
No. Yeah. Oh, look. No. Keep going. It's good.
Okay. All right. So light beings. So I'll put the question out and see if anybody has seen a light being before and what that might look like. So I'm going to go into angel frequencies, and I'm going to go into light beings and just talk slightly about the difference between the two. And so an angelic frequency of energy will often appear where you see a spark of light. So when you in the middle of your day you just see like this pinprick of light appear, that's usually, and it's above, like, you know, this part of yourself, so it's in the upper part, that is usually an angelic frequency of energy. If it's in the lower bit, it's usually an elemental energy, and if it's blue, it's usually Michael's energy, and if it's purple, it's got Saint Germain's energy coming in. Rarely ever see a purple one, but I do see blue ones, and I definitely see white ones. And then sometimes there are archangelic energies where you could be walking down the street, minding your own business on a sunny day, and all of a sudden you can become aware of an archangelic presence, which is different to when we do meditation and we pull the energy to us. If an archangelic energy presence is nearby, it is so high it goes right up to the sky, like, and I'm talking kilometers high in energy. It's that strong and that powerful. and it will come in as a beam of light, where you will get a recognition of knowing that's an archangelic energy that you've just like had a glimpse of. And so the archangelic forces are very, very big. And then when it comes to what I classify as light being energy are the if I was to say off on galactic worlds and different parts of the cosmos, I'll speak of Palladian energy, because I often see or encounter blue beings, and they don't just look blue. They have something with them energetically that is really incredible to see when you witness it. Like the one that I spoke of a few weeks ago that had it had these diamond mirrors like all down its face, like down its cheeks. I can't make that stuff up. To see, when you see it, it is like it's a oh my god moment in your own energy, and you're just like, oh my god, I'm like, without putting anything on a pedestal, it is an amazing experience. So you're just like humble to receive it and grateful to receive it. But a light being is almost like a otherworldly energy which is of total service to humanity. It is not infiltrated, corrupted, interfering. You know, it's a celestial experience when you encounter a light being energy. And light beings are usually like an otherworldly transmission of energy exchange. And you know, if there was anything wrong with the situation, it just wouldn't happen. You wouldn't have reverence for it. There's a huge difference between like encountering a dark entity energy, even when it presents and cloaks itself with the light, because you just know the moment you go, is that like the light? And the moment you go, is that the light? It's not the light, I'm telling you, right? You're dealing with something that's like a darker energy. So a celestial light being experience will be an experience where you just completely in the moment with what you're experiencing, and you're totally like appreciative of what you're receiving as an energy exchange. And that's the difference. Did you want to have a look, see if anybody's made any?
We've had, Penelope's saying, I needed that. Hi, Louise. Always, this is from Narelle. Hi, Louise. Always love learning from you. I've asked to meet my unicorn, and I got his face for a few seconds.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know everybody had a unicorn, but I suppose it's a little bit like if you summons it to ask to have an experience with it, then it's going to come to you. If you soften your energy to allow that energy to come in, it's going to make a connection with you. So was that a Diana Cooper meditation by any chance? Because she's the unicorn queen. We'll wait and see.
And then Marcus says, can you physically feel the presence of an angel?
Yeah, and I've actually seen I've seen angel frequencies intercepting at a interdimensional astral level as well, and it's quite funny. They can present almost Greek godlike as well, which is a really weird way to explain it, but people can actually, as much as you can have, a negative poltergeistic experience, you can have a celestial energy come forward. And it's a well-known fact that relatives come in to support people. Archangel frequencies come in to support people. You've only got to ask if you need help. You've only got to sit in meditation and someone's like archangelic energies, north, south, east, west, and do a meditation. And it's like the moment that you let go of trying, you can feel the energy.
Absolutely. And I remember the first time I sat down and meditated, I've probably tried a bit prior to that, but I was quite young, and I was in not a very positive relationship, and I thought, I'm just going to try and meditate. And I didn't know anything about chakras or anything like that, but I did know that your heart chakra was green. And I thought, I'll just meditate on my heart chakra. And with that, I just felt this virtually I could almost see this amazing green energy that was just came in like vroom. And then I just basically felt this complete uplifting. So that had to be Archangel Raphael just coming in to, just to encase me with his love energy and lift me where I needed to be, because I really needed that at the time. And yeah, it was, so you can definitely feel, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And I always say to people when they first start doing meditation that, one of the first things to do is learning how to channel different colors, because your vision will actually change if you try to just pull the color red. Eventually your vision will actually change to red on the inside, and you just like flick the frequency up through each of the rainbow colors. And just doing that on your own, then you will start to see like more when you invoke an energy to come forward, like an archangelic energy or one of the ascended master energies. And it is always easier to like literally do a meditation and follow the energy, because if you are being supported by the voice and the music through the meditation, you can let go and allow the energy to come to you, like, but you have to get out of the chatter of the mind stuff, and get yourself out of the way so the energy can get to you, so you can have an experience. So I highly recommend that you set a specific time of night every single night, or whatever, each day you actually go in and feel what it feels like to feel your energy, and see if there's anything that needs to be cleared or lifted off your frequency, or you need to go in and do a minor adjustment just to, one of the things I was doing, seeing as I'm going to, I'm in the energy of talking about clearing and alignment, we actually have something in our energy field called astral bodies. And so astral bodies are the different layers once you go from the physical into the first layer is the physical layer. And then you've got emotional, then you've got mental, then you've got spiritual, and then you're going out into the light bodies and all the different templates that are in your field. And so each of the astral bodies is directly connected to a chakra point. And when we get a shock or something like out of the blue hits us, we can actually get an astral body will like jump out of alignment. And so this is when you actually see someone where they're walking down the street and they're not fully in their body, or they have a shock and they're like this, because their spirit has actually jumped out slightly. And so whenever anybody's had a severe shock, it's really good to actually get a healing if you can't do it yourself. But you'll find that you can actually use the higher self to bring the astral body back into alignment. And you can actually ask your higher self to, let's go into the physical plane and let's just ask for an alignment in the physical plane, and ask for the astral body to realign with the physical body chakra. You don't have to know which chakra it goes to, and you'll find if any of your astral bodies are out of alignment, that your higher self can just kick it back into shape. And so that's another one that's coming forward at the moment from before the broadcast that I needed to speak about, which was we need to lift off any of these thought forms that are coming out of social media. And we need to, as we're impacted by them, they're dropping down our frequency. And we also need to keep watch on our astral bodies, because our astral bodies are going out of whack because of the astral energy that is going down here.
Definitely important to stay grounded, even if you're grounding into the oceans. Definitely, yeah.
So for anybody who wasn't on the call right at the beginning, we were actually talking about a tip that came through last week from Helen, about grounding a feed line out with your consciousness out into deep ocean, and actually connecting with the whales and the dolphin frequencies. And what happened to me was actually I connected with the Palladian frequencies, which are down there too. And just absorbing that into your energy, because it is incredibly peaceful in its energy signature right now. It's actually running this sort of blue and a violet ray at the same time, and it feels amazing. So no more grounding to planet Earth. We've got a big grounding to the oceans of the Earth, because the land is being messed with too much.
Just a bit. Just for a bit. Cassandra has a question. Is it possible to go somewhere else while in a session and meet another being and souls? Like my soul going somewhere and doing something while I'm still here and being aware of what's happening, like watching a movie play out, but being there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so there's two things that could be happening, really. There's one where you're sitting in meditation and you go energetically to a higher dimensional plane, and you have an experience with what's on that higher dimensional plane. And then when you climb yourself back into your consciousness, it's like you remember some of it, but and it was blissful when you were there, but you can't remember all of it, and like you don't really want to come back down from it. And then there's a separate version, which is that there is another aspect of your spirit that is in parallel, where you've bridged across into this parallel you that's existing in another dimension, space and time, and you have had an experience witnessing this other aspect of your own spirit, and you have brought that back with you. And it's something that I've had a lot of experience with, because my spirit is actually, this is the main me, but my spirit is split off into multiple aspects of me in different parallel I'll say parallel universes, but they're parallel locations cosmically, that I can actually experience in full what it's like to be in the consciousness of that part of my spirit. So I hope that answers your question.
Nearly as evolved as Isis you are. And then Narelle asks, what's Archangel Gabriel's energy light? What is, I'd say, what's...
I don't know. I always remember Michael and Raphael more than the others. I think it's because the tones are actually strongest out of those two. So Raphael's energy always comes in with a green frequency, and it's always really healing. And Michael's energy always comes in with a blue frequency, and it's very much like, it's almost like the blue ray stands for, and I'm a blue ray. It stands for authority and commanding dominion over the energy fields. But I can't remember what Gabriel.
Yeah, I'm not
like
sure.
Kind of frequency when
I need to go grab one of my books.
Yeah, but the best place is to actually go in and sense and perceive and pull it forward for yourself. It's really all the stuff that's in books. I would never follow like what it says about Gabriel does this or Gabriel is this. It's about actually opening your energy and pulling that energy to you, and you having your experience with it. It's you can only go by what you remember then. People I never go by what I remember from books and things like that when it comes to crystals or channeling crystals. It's only the experiences that I remember. You can't retain stuff. It goes in one part of your brain and out the other. because we've all actually shifted into present moment energy, where we can't retain stuff in our heads. Like before we went on this live, I was like, I can't, my brain doesn't work. My brain does not work right now at all. All I've got to go is into channel and talk about.
I completely relate to that though. I'm constantly like, just as soon as even a battle's happened, it's gone. Move on. And so to ask me to recall something, so I've been a big help for you today. Anyway.
Sorry, Laura. I should know that immediately for you, but I don't. I can't remember.
Okay, okay, I think that's it. I swear I can feel his energy around my cousin a lot of the time.
Okay, protecting. I just do a Google search on it and just see what it relates to. I always, even if when you're doing a Google search on the meaning of something, just use, if it doesn't feel right and it doesn't immediately fit where you can go, yeah, that's what that relates to, then drop it away as irrelevant and look for another meaning. I always do that. If something, because you're doing a random search, you don't have to take everything that you find on the internet as gospel just because somebody's had an experience. Like if you channel different crystal energies, you know, you'll have different people having different experiences with the crystal frequency, because they needed that for them. So, you know, everything to do with energy and remote viewing and quantum alchemy, it's about the energy signature of what you need for your experience. And whenever I used to talk about my pieces, it's one of my favorites I'm wearing here, I would write a transcript for the piece, and then I would relay it to somebody in the store about the alchemy, the energy. And it doesn't just come through with my voice. You can feel, if it's the right piece for the right person, you can feel the energy cascade in your whole field. It's like the best buzz in the world. And if that person's supposed to be with that crystal's like kicked off a light body cascade in your energy, and it's kicked off the light body cascade in the client's energy, and it's sweet. The two come together and they're in love.
Yeah.
So
it picks you.
Sense and perceive, use your own discernment. That's my advice. So the stellar codes side of things, or the star codes, is really directly connected to either working with a specific energy race, like those light beings from the Pleiades transmitting code into my meridian lines earlier this week, or it is to do with your own home realm of where you came from as a starseed energy. You have and I'll just explain what a starseed is in case anybody doesn't know what a starseed is. So a starseed is a wave of light workers that have come in from different parts of the cosmos with specific purposes to lift and elevate the consciousness of humanity. And starseeds have had many lifetimes on the earth plane, but they also have an energy signature which comes from one of the founder races of the human being species, and they are either Syrian, Andromedan, Palladian, Orion, and there's some controversy around the Orion energy. I'm just trying to think of some. Can you remember any others?
Arcturians.
Yeah, Arcturian.
Lyrians. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And for some reason, Venusian energy as well is calling out as I'm talking about this.
Yes.
So it's almost like starseeds are emissaries of light from these founder races, and they have actually encoded in their energy like hidden codes, I suppose is the right word for it, almost like hidden energies that activate and get dropped in grid locations, and all sorts of stuff goes on in a starseed's energy. But a starseed means that you have an off-planet origin where you originally were connected to source in some part of the cosmos, and source has split off from itself, a reflection of itself, and then that's your starseed origin, and then you have gone into a position of service where you have then chosen to incarnate at this particular point in time with this specific wave of the ascension work. So Dolores Cannon has written, she's no longer with us, unfortunately. She wrote a book called 3 Waves of Earth Volunteers. And in the first couple of pages, there's a really good excerpt for identifying what you are as a starseed, like the hallmarks of what it's like to be a starseed. And it is different to the indigo races or the indigo children that are here as adults now. So the starseeds were here in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000 and on as like a generation to raise consciousness. This is why we've had an absolute explosion in the last 30 years of the first waves are the ones that brought through the initial wave of information and wrote loads of books and did loads of courses. And then I'm a second wave starseed, where I have then put myself out there, laid it all on the line, and had and exposed myself to as many people as possible to raise to speak about the metaphysics, to speak about spirituality, to speak about the stuff that doesn't normally get spoken about, to hold space for people that actually were experiencing, in my heart, anybody who's experiencing astral interference, it's like such a debilitating energy to get a lock onto your energy field. I needed to help people to get rid of it. That's encoded in my purpose. So starseeds are people that have come here specifically to raise consciousness, raise awareness, and speak their truth, and write literature and write content, and be of service to the light as a channel of spiritual information. The indigos are here in the deconstruction and the reconstruction of the new reality and the new earth. So they are here for the battle. Very different. Very different coding. And in the indigo races is, I would say, more disconnection from family. It's almost like they're super independent and they're much stronger. Whereas we have a slightly softer energy, even though I've got an Orion frequency, which is very much warrior energy. So I hope, has anybody got anything to relate to about starseed energy and the indigos? We'll wait and see what comes in.
Yeah, just third wave energy. Cassandra's saying third wave energy, looking for support.
Yeah, well, the second waves are going to have to teach the third waves how to cope, I think. And the third waves, the real third waves, are the young ones right now.
They're already enlightened. They're coming through already with less karma.
Well,
more light.
They may be until, it just depends what actually happens in this time period. If, we all have to surrender to the higher powers actually having control over the descent of mankind into the ascent of mankind, and this all evolving to a level where humanity is not being siphoned and manipulated.
Yeah, it's all happening.
So we have to revert back to our prayers. We have to revert back to, you know, visualizing on a daily basis how we want our reality to actually be, what we want it to look like. Taking our consciousness, we can rise our consciousness completely out of the earth plane and actually channel back. You know, if you take yourself right outside the earth plane and you've been initiated into healing, then use your light and send it back to the whole planet Earth. You know, maybe these are some things that we can do to shift and support the frequency by taking.
And just, you know, our timelines are changing so quickly at the moment. Like our, you know, we, like the messages I'm getting is that that we are awakening probably a little faster than expected. So that's a good thing, you know, like so therefore our timelines aren't set in stone, because we are, you know, there are people waking up and you know, at various levels, but it's happening, and so therefore things are shifting really fast.
Yeah, and then it gets confusing because you don't know exactly what you're doing.
No, you just got to, like you said, just in the center of the storm, and just as long as you
come back to yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Focus on your
what
own
do I
growth.
need to do now?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so just see if there's any final questions.
Yeah.
I don't think we have time to go through a meditation process, but if you go back to the beginning of this recording, have a listen, take your consciousness out to the ocean, go in, work with the aquatic energy down there, bring it back up through your field, and try and support yourself. Lift off all this stuff, this heavy energy, and because it's going to get worse before it gets better, unfortunately.
Stay in your hearts. Stay in your hearts.
So I'll just wrap up this broadcast and say thank you so much, everybody who's been on the call today. Thank you for your questions. It's been really awesome for me to do this one. And for Helen's support. And if anybody is interested, I actually have a program where I teach light workers in spiritual business. You can go to my website, louisewinchester.com, and find out about Quantum Leap. And Helen is a mentor, an ascension and spiritual business mentor in the salon and beauty industry. And if anybody is watching this after the broadcast and they want to get in touch with her, please feel free to connect on YouTube or Facebook and DM us, and we will get back to you. So thank you so much to everybody who's been watching this. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you all today.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Louise.
Thanks, Helen. Bye-bye.
See you.